market, and people know photo beams, people know laser beams, people know different things. The difference with our technology is that in each cell there's actually two beams, and I'll pass this guy around. So it's got dual adjacent cell detection, it's got a disqualification feature, lower cell mono detection. Okay, so how it differs from competing beam technologies is that the traditional barriers are, they will stack to get your height, and there's dead zones in between. Those blue boxes show where there could be dead zones, so literally something could get through there. Whereas with our active infrared towers, there are absolutely no dead zones. So it's multiplex, it's synchronized, and you've got coverage. They speak to each other, and you've got coverage in the full section of perimeter that you're carrying. There's no open spaces, if you will. So again, sort of traditional barriers, you've got various channels. They have what's called crosstalk. Ours, with the synchronization, it eliminates any issues of crosstalk, which can sometimes be found in the traditional barrier, or traditional. We can also zone in between. They're 100 meters, there's up to 100 meters between transmitter receiver, and you can create 3 zones inside of that 328 feet.
That's variable?
Sorry?
You can vary the distance for the zone?
Yeah, using the web base. But just to keep in mind that the 3 virtual zones is only for the max service product. So the max service product, we can create up to 3 independent zones between the 320. So you can set from the transmitter to the receiver transmitter from 0 to, let's say, 15 meters. So this is zone number 1, and keep going until you reach the 100 meters. I mean, this is not an obligation of reaching the maximum 100 meters. You can put 70 meters between, so it's very and it comes with floor socket. If you see behind, this is a metal floor socket. So usually we use concrete base. We can offer also PDF plan about the wide that is required, and it comes with the bolts, everything that can be done.
So as Ramsey said, the Max Iris is kind of the premium barrier, if you will. And again, for pinpoint intrusion detection, it can go height-wise up to 12 feet if required, 24 to 48 VBC. And then indoor, we don't get a ton of indoor applications, but we can. It's actually a 500 meter range. Outdoors is simply 100, but they come in single and double face, so 1 or 2 direction. And again, the same environmental, minus 40 to plus 70 Celsius.
And very important, as Katie said, so this is not stockable beams, it's only 1 beams. Again, it goes to 3 meters, 12 or 18 cells, single or double face. And it has also here an anti-climbing cap. So if someone put the ladder, try to climb, put his hands, make some pressure. This is a dry contact, so we can notify directly. It has a temper also. If you see the cell here, during winter condition, this is a green, it's a resistor, so this is like a heater, just to keep warm the infrared cells, to don't make any condensation during the winter. So this is why it's not solar based. It comes with different power version, transformer inside, so 24 volt DC, 48 volt DC. So this is usually I recommend and there is a 12 volt DC, but I recommend the 24 volt DC for the heater. It's more powerful, it's more amperes. Right? So.
Yeah, there's kind of the inside of the single versus the double face, but yeah, your terminal block cells, control units are set in the middle, and then your power supply.
And also for non-dead zone, so a real intrusion, we need to cut 2 adjacent beams at the same time. So let's say, for example, we have 3 meters, we have 12 cells. So cell number 1 with cell number 2, this is 2 adjacent beams. So 1 and 3 is not adjacent, so we need to cut at the same time. For example, if we see here, if I cut these 2 beams, so this is a real intrusion, so we can notify. And there is also we have a double that we call the by detection, so twice detection. So we can even temporize at the lower beam. We can detect someone ramping. So the lower beam, automatically. So this is a real intrusion. And we have disqualification, the same, technology on the G-fence. So if there is no accumulation, so the lower beam is obstructed, disqualified, we can receive an alarm. So for maintenance, so the operator knows, okay, there's some issue, we have to clean up. So this is the difference between the infrared beams. Yeah, this is the solar version. So don't need power, everything, any digging. So it has solar panel at the top with battery backup in the middle. It will keep up to 6 to 7 weeks, low battery notification. At the top it has such as a small radio antenna. So it's a radio mesh communication. So each transmitter receiver will communicate with the other ones to make the whole perimeters. And then it comes with a radio coordinator. So the radio coordinator is a small box that must be outside the building and needs to communicate with the nearest transmitter receiver. It grabs all the information radio, and then we have here our RS-45 communication to our Maximus. So this is how the information goes and decentralized into the hub.
What is the distance from that transmission and the receiver?
328 feet
Okay.
between each column.
So
there's no problem for let's say 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, because we will use like let's say for
Repeater?
example. Sorry.
You have a repeater or something?
Yeah, I mean the column itself, the antenna has a repeater,
Oh, okay.
so it will amplify the signal on each of them. Yeah, exactly. So they're very mesh. So let's say for example you have that side. So on the 90 degrees you will have a double face. So double face you can just unscrew and you can play with it. So you can play with the pan just to give the 90 degrees. Yeah, this is another typical installation in Canada for during winter.
Because
I
we
think
do
it's
get,
9:30.
yeah, we do get a lot of snow, and so
Yeah.
this is a unique design in the Solaris, is the anti-condensation cap.
Yeah.
So those caps keep basically the cells clear by having those caps just above it.
Yeah. So this is the version of the Solaris itself. You see here it's a little bit different than the Maxers. It doesn't have this smaller heater, but it does have the anti-condensation cap. Because usually solar, we need less power. So usually the battery with the solar panel, it gives you like 6.5 volt DC. It's not enough, to power all the columns using heater inside. So this is why we came up with that technology, and it works very well.
And this is just again showing the installation on the sonotube. This is just showing that it'll go right through fences. It'll detect right through.
And also for the wired version, we have to keep in mind sometimes we didn't ask, but we face different scenario that some of the customer told us, okay, can we put the infrared stuck it on the building? Yes, we have a special bracket that can go on the concrete wall, and we can bolt it just to start the point. So yeah, there's flexible ways we can do this.
So the Mirus is, a step down from the Max Iris, same technology, just, again, relay output based, 100-meter range. And did you speak to the optical synchronization automatically?
Yeah, I mean,
Syncs, yeah.
yeah. So the Max Iris needs a cable between transmitter receiver. So it's a wired synchronization cable. That means so each column needs 18 gauge or 22 gauge to communicate together. Now the other versions are like a Solaris, we have the mirrors. So this is optical element. So between transmitter receiver, we don't need any wire between. It's like optical. So during the commissioning, when you enter to the configuration mode, you will see a beeping. So if you see continuous beep, this is mean you reach the maximum quality of the synchronization. I can show after here.
Maybe just a couple of different applications.
So this is what I told you. So instead of having like a solid concrete base, we can use such special bracket on the pole, and it will be stacked like that. This is another version of the infrared, same technology. We call the Beers 2. So it's a small, like 40-50 centimeters, 2 cells. This is good, let's say for windows. So if someone try to break the windows, so we can just detect someone cut the beams, or it could be for entrance or exit about this specific warehouse. So we can have adjusted the beam, so it could be above fence. So we will have a typical application that we can play with it. Even like I think last time there's a specific site design we made about I need to detect the train. So train usually we don't need to detect pedestrian, just need to detect the train. So they came up with a specific metal pole. We put the berries, and we know the train when we got only the above beams, so we can have such application.
This is at one of the correctional facilities, stateside, again, putting on rooftops and walls, special brackets and stuff. And I think we forgot to mention, when we were talking about G-Fence, we also have G-Wall, which is the same technology, so it's the G-Fence technology sensors that you can actually attach with the proper bracket to a wall. So if they're trying to, protect a building and that sort of thing, so.
And so that's a double face unit right there, I'm assuming, for the corner?
Yeah, this is a double face.
Yep.
Okay.
So the cells here, it's face that
Yeah,
direction.
one's facing,
Yeah.
goes 90 degrees.
Yeah, you can actually adjust them, so.
Okay.
And this, again, is a use case that we did, I think, for BGSA again. Ramsey can speak to that. Again, this is the site design that came up, and this was Mirrors, so.
Yeah. So we use optical mirrors infrared beams. So just they need to protect along the perimeter. So this is like the warehouse. We put the magnets piece inside, and we start the first column using a special bracket on the concrete wall, and we protect all of them here around. So this is all the double face, and this is single face. So we start, and the maximum is 328 feet. So just to keep in mind the mirrors, okay, to don't interfere with the other ones, okay, because it's infrared beams, use different channels. So usually we cannot use near the two columns here the same channel, channel 1, channel 1, because this one will have conflict with this one, with the other one. So there is a deep switch on it. You can put channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4. So the maximum here, I can use, let's say you have a big perimeter, 1 kilometer. So you can use channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4. If you have the other one, you can put channel 1, because we allowed up to 400 meters. So after 400 meters, if you use the channel 1, there is no conflict. So it will be so far.
So you have to set the dip switch on each specific section of fence between the two.
I mean, not fence, your infrared barrier.
Yeah, the infrared,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I mean.
exactly.
Like this column and this column right here have to be set to say channel 1.
Yeah, so transmitter, receiver,
Right,
yeah,
so
channel
so
1.
that way you know it's
Each pairs.
within this zone.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Of course. And this is the processing usually during the commissioning.
Okay.
Yeah, this is like a little bit top view.
Any questions on that before we kick the tires on that one, on the infrared? So just to speak a little bit to complementary technologies that and integration that we do with our systems. And actually PGSA reps for cast perimeter as well. We've done installations stateside and here in Ontario with cast. So they wanted to light up the fence as well. So we integrate with that perimeter lighting system. So there's an intrusion on the fence. The cast lighting LED lights up the section of fence that's being compromised.
I'll give you guys some literature on all of this stuff as well before you leave today, so that you have it. So that way, when you're talking to your customers, you can show them what the capabilities of the system are and what you can complement that system with.
Cause sometimes that'll just create that deterrence, they get on the fence, the light goes off. Maybe
On.
somebody's watching, right, or a sound alarm, or, you know, there's multiple things you can do to ward them off. But then there are those diligent types that'll just keep going. So again, I think I showed the Ameristar a little earlier, but, yeah, so we can just